Hello, this is Workbench episode number 19. I'm Seth Werkheiser along with Bill Meese, two people who work in music and love technology, sharing our nerdy knowledge to help make your work easier and more manageable. Hello, Bill.
Hi, Seth.
Hello.
What's up, dude?
Here we are again. We are on the precipice of episode 20.
I know. What are we going to do once we get there?
I'm sure we'll pick a topic.
Have we? Yeah. Have we arrived? Once you hit 20 episodes?
No, I think in podcasting parlances, I think we need to hit need 50.
Yeah.
50, 100, yeah. Yeah, we need something.
Well, 52 will be exactly 1 year, so that'll be a good one.
That's true. I don't even want to think of doing this, though, over the holidays. Could you imagine scheduling and everything?
Yeah. I don't know.
We'll be all right.
Might be nice to get some time away. Wink, wink.
That's true.
Well, I'm sure we'll run out of stuff to talk about way before then.
No, I'm sure. I there's always something. There's always a solution. There's always a pickle that people can find themselves in.
Yeah, there's always something that people are doing wrong. Enough for me to
we could point out.
Right, enough for me to make notes about and talk about on the internet. With you.
True, yes. You'll like bring it up, but be like, yes, I know 4 people that do that.
Right. It doesn't even take 4 people to inspire an entire show full of rants.
That's true.
How was your weekend?
It's been fantastic, dude. I gotta tell you, I magically found a place today with my friend who was driving me home. We instead of taking the highways, we were like, oh, we're just going to go this back road. And then this back road. Let's make a left. I don't know. Let's make a right. Okay. Dude, we came across then, we're driving, and I see these massive stones in this small field and parked cars and people walking all around them. What? Middle of the woods. It's this place called Columcille, I guess. Columcille. I'll put the link in the show notes.
It sounds like something you would buy at Home Depot.
It does, yes. It was wild. It's open to the public, no charge, all donations. It's 17 acres of big rocks in the middle of the woods and hiking trails. And cool, hang out. It was amazing, absolutely amazing.
So you just stare at the rocks? Is that it?
Yeah, you just walk and find. Dude, they are 19 gajillion ton rocks.
That's very heavy.
They're big and old, and some of them, there was a Stonehenge one. I tweeted a photo of that today, of me standing menacingly in front of it. It was wild. And the place was packed. There was all these people there. And it's a 10-minute drive from my house. I've never known the place existed.
So this is in Pennsylvania?
Yes, it is. Yep.
Man, you guys need some new attractions. Get an arcade or a movie theater or something.
No, dude. Big rocks. It was awesome.
All right, well.
How was your weekend?
Not that at all. Though that sounds cool. My weekend has been filled with traffic and hot dogs and American flags, parades, barbecues, yard work on your day off. Very typical Long Island Memorial Day activities.
Yeah.
There was a huge air show down at Jones Beach. So,
okay.
I live by one of the smaller municipal airports, which I'm assuming they used for something because there was B-52 bombers going over my house all weekend. It's one of the few times where that's a good thing.
You're right. Fantastic. Wow.
But yeah, so episode 19. Holy crap.
Yeah, here we are.
I have notes that I keep.
We together have copious amounts of notes.
Yeah, there's a few things that I wanted to just touch on that I either figured out or discovered over the week that I need to talk about here because my wife does not care.
I'm here for you, and our Workbench Podcast audience is here for you.
I appreciate our listeners.
Absolutely.
No, one of the big moves I made this week was turning the badge count off of my email app on my phone.
Ooh.
Now, what does that mean? That means that when you look at your phone you look at your home screen and you have 10 emails in your inbox. Usually, I think the default setting is to have it a badge count. So you see the number 10 in the upper right hand corner of the mail app. Not so anymore. I'm done with it.
You slayed it.
I slayed it, it's a big step for me. Someone who uses email heavily all day, every day for my job. Doesn't mean I don't check it as often, but it means that there's just one less thing to draw my attention away from what I actually looked at my phone to do.
Right.
I don't know if you've ever done that. You end up, looking at your phone to check the weather. Next thing you know it, you're
my goodness,
ordering tacos from some food truck on your phone because you got so distracted.
Right. Just want to look at the time. And now all of a sudden I'm like streaming a YouTube video. Someone told me to read this article. Blah, blah, blah.
Right. You end up buying a fur coat or something.
Right.
Anything can happen. So the badge count is off. So that's
great.
Working out. Another thing is, I know I've mentioned this before, but I use nvALT. And nvALT, it's a Mac app for note taking. Okay. It's like a really stripped down version of Evernote.
Yeah.
I think you would like it actually.
Ooh.
It's nvALT.
Okay.
nvALT. And I've been using that for note taking on my MacBook Pro for a while. My buddy David Sparks at Mac Sparky pointed me out to that one.
Sure.
And it's been great. And I'm a huge Drafts user, the iOS app.
Right.
And I'm always thinking like, man, it'd be great if these two synced up. And if that's possible, please tell me. If somebody knows how to do that, tweet at me. I would love to be able to do that. But I noticed I was able to sync it with SimpleNote.
Oh wow!
I don't know. Have you ever used that SimpleNote?
Yeah, I've used that in the past. Yeah.
For those who don't know, it's a simple note taking app that syncs your iOS devices with your laptop or just any web based connection, so that if you taking notes on your phone or taking notes on your iPad, they'll sync on the web via SimpleNote, so you can get it on your laptop and vice versa. So that's big for me because I rely heavily on notes. Speaking of Drafts, I figured out that you can sync it via iCloud, which makes me think I can sync it on the Mac, but there's no Drafts app available for the Mac, so I don't know. But anyway, I was able to sync it via iCloud, which means I can sync it between my iOS devices.
Wow!
And since I've been trying to move more work towards the iPad, that has helped me tremendously.
Move it to the iPad, really?
Yeah, I'm trying my best to do as much of my work on the iPad. I'm not there yet. It's not 100%. But,
sure.
It's baby steps.
Yeah.
I would say before it was like 80-20 on the Mac.
Right.
And now it's closer to 70-30.
Neato.
So it's getting there.
I like that, yeah.
So that's it, man. That's what I wanted to get off my chest.
Dude, what about this? Oh, I see. Yeah, we did cover that. My bad.
What's that?
I like it. I was looking at the OmniFocus thing.
Oh, yeah, and I bought OmniFocus for the iPad, which I was trying not to do just because...
You were reluctant, right?
Yeah,
it's
because
a chunk of change,
those
right?
apps are so expensive, but...
Yeah.
I've fully have dove into the deep end on OmniFocus on my Mac and my iPhone, so I was only missing the iPad, and since I'm trying to move more work to the iPad,
yeah,
it was only a matter of time before that happened. But what's cool is the Omni Group, which is the software developer that makes it,
right?
They bundled OmniFocus together on the App Store, so I think it's $40 if you buy it outright. But since I already bought the iPhone version, it was only $20. So,
neat.
So I mean, yeah, okay, that's cheaper, but Jesus, it's still a $20 app,
Right. Well, just because everyone has 99-cent apps,
Yeah, but I mean,
just
I
because
bought it.
Radiohead gives their album away.
All right, they got my money, so.
Right.
But with that said, it's amazing and it's awesome. And
yes, there's still a piece of my heart that wants to delve into OmniFocus still. So.
You'll get there. You got to FancyHands this week, right?
Oh, my goodness.
Why don't you tell our awesome listeners about how it took me 2 years to convince you to do it?
Literally 2 years. Yeah, FancyHands, man. It's just you email FancyHands, or that's how I do, or I do it in the website.
Yeah, and we've talked about FancyHands heavily in past episodes.
And yeah, to just like, hey, I need X, Y, and Z. I actually, I needed a client asked me, hey, can X, Y, and Z be done on this thing? I didn't know the answer right off the top of my head, and like I had this full slate of work ahead of me. I was like, well, I'll just have FancyHands research that for me. Mm-hmm. I outlined exactly what I wanted. I need to know this. I need to know that. Technical, blah, blah, blah. And yeah, I got done through my workday, and at about 2:33 in the afternoon, oh, here's your complete answer. Like, a rich answer.
Yeah.
With like, sources and this and that. It's like, oh, that's perfect. I mean, that literally meant at the end of my workday, at 2 in the afternoon or 3, I didn't have to spend another 2 hours researching this question. It was already done.
Yeah, and they probably did it better than you could.
Sure, yeah, because they weren't looking at my to-do list. So
just to back up for a second, people who don't know, FancyHands is an outsourcing task management app and service that you can buy monthly plans to that give you a certain level of tasks that you can use. And they'll do anything from web research, phone calls, travel, itineraries. It's a virtual assistant service, which I've been using for the past 2 years and cannot recommend enough. And apparently it took 2 years from one of my closest friends to start using it.
Yes.
But now that Seth is on board,
yeah.
I'm really happy because it's cool when you text me like, oh my God, I got this done. Can you believe it? And I could say, yeah.
Yeah.
I can.
Yeah, I seriously feel like forwarding you every email that I get. Like, oh, look, they got this and did that. Yeah, they did.
Yeah, that's like me forwarding a blog post. Look, Seth, I did a blog post. Yeah, great, Bill.
Look, there's a photo at the top and there's some text.
Congratulations.
Yeah. Yep.
So now that we got all of that out of the way, what are we talking about this week?
We are talking about the act of scheduling. Right?
Just the scheduling what?
Scheduling meetings, scheduling phone calls, scheduling meeting up, all that. Scheduling with another person or persons to do stuff and accomplish things.
Cool. I'm going to focus heavily on the phone calls part because that's the one I have the most to say about.
Yes, dive in.
All right, so the situation is one that we're all very familiar with. You're on, and keep in mind, this is just to lay a foundation. This is in business. This is at work. That's why it's called the Workbench Podcast. This is all having to do with relationships in business and your work day. So, with that said, everyone has been in the situation of, well, we need to jump on a call and figure something out. And there's 4 or 5 people on an email chain, maybe a 6th or a 7th that aren't even on the email chain, and you all need to figure out when everyone's free on Thursday or the following Tuesday to try to get this call done. So what do?
I'm already stressed about it.
The normal thing, and only because no one has, usually no one takes the right approach. Everyone emails a giant email chain with 7 or 8 people on it and say, hey, so when's everyone free? And then you get a barrage of emails saying when everyone's free, and then you notice some conflicts, which generates 4 or 5 more emails. And after 20, maybe 30 emails later, and I'm not exaggerating because I experience this on a weekly basis sometimes. Sure. You figure out that, okay, Tuesday at 3:30 is when everyone can do it. Oh, wait, that 8th person that wasn't on the original chain can't make it.
Because they were literally in the bathroom and their phone died.
Right. So
they couldn't answer the email just yet.
Right. So start the whole process over again. So now you're 40 emails deep just to schedule a phone call. Seth, there has to be an easier way.
Well, it's a good thing there is.
So
There's a handful of neat apps that we could talk about that can help you.
Yeah, there's a couple of apps I want we can talk about, but there's also an overall concept and philosophy I'd like to dive into.
Yes, and I was thinking that as I was looking up a handful of these apps, is that apps are only work. Like, we could find all these cool apps, but if no one else uses them, it doesn't matter.
Which is the biggest roadblock I find myself in when trying to do just that.
Yep.
And the irony is that if everyone would just lower their guard for a second, try something new, maybe it will work. Maybe it won't, but maybe it will.
Right.
And so now you just saved yourself 40 more emails. Oh, you tried using Slack too this week? Oh, you just saved 40 more emails right there.
Right.
So the point is that these services are out there to save you emails and ultimately save you time and ultimately save you aggravation.
Yes.
So the first one we can go into is Doodle. Now, I know a lot of people use this, but I don't know anybody that uses it. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
I know people use it, but I don't know anyone that uses it.
Right.
So the basic rundown of Doodle is you have a profile, big surprise, and you send out a link. Am I right? It's been a while since I've done this, so correct me if I'm wrong. You send out a link, which goes to a set block of times that you have selected, which is where you're available.
Right.
And if someone else is available, they can click that time. And if you send it to 2 people or 10 people, they all have access to the same block of time that you're available on. And instead of sending 45 emails to figure out when everyone's free, everyone can kind of click the time block that most works for them.
Right.
And at the end of all that, if there's 5 time blocks available, then you can choose one. But if there's one, then there you go. That's the time everyone can meet, or everyone can jump on the phone.
Yeah. And it's web-based. It's right in front of you on the web. It's beautiful.
It's also probably the most popular one.
Yeah.
Right now.
Yeah. I found 2 links dating back to 2006 and 2007 of our friend Merlin Mann talking about it. He loves it.
Mm-hmm.
Don't know if he still uses it, but I would imagine he does.
Who knows? But there's another one that just came out maybe like a month ago.
Mm-hmm.
And for anyone that uses a sunrise calendar, and I highly recommend it because it's one of the better ones out there, they came out with a new feature called Meet.
Mm-hmm.
Not the bacon, the actual meeting someone in person.
Right.
And because of iOS 8's ability to install third-party keyboards, Sunrise figured out that we can make a keyboard that reflects your calendars. So if someone texts you or emails you with that same question, hey, I'd like to get a cup of coffee, catch up, when are you free? Before you even reply, you can pop open your third-party Sunrise calendar keyboard, and you can tap 1, 2, 3. You can tap as many as you want, right?
Yeah, yep.
As many time blocks on your actual calendar as you want. That generates a link, which then you send to whoever's asking you, and then they have access to those time blocks, and they choose the one that works best for them.
Right.
And if they use Sunrise, it works really well. But if not, it's all web-based. So,
right. You just click, and it updates. Absolutely.
The reason why I like these features the most, whether it's Doodle or Sunrise or however many there are out there or however many there will be, is that it removes the work from all parties, or most importantly, me. Right. I've already done my part. I've chosen 2 or 3 times I'm available. Mm-hmm. Now it's on you to figure out which one works for you. And if none of them work, then we'll try again. But usually if the person is giving multiple choices, then one will work out. Yeah. Because you're all not that. You're not as busy as you think you are.
Right, and ultimately too, I mean, the idea of you put in your work, and now I'm gonna go back to work doing this other stuff. The other way is the 40 emails that pop up. Every single one of those emails is a distraction. Did someone else cancel? Did this and that? Do I now need to pay attention to this next email? Because is this person not available next Tuesday at 3 p.m.?
Oh, yeah. You couple in that scenario of having 6 people trying to schedule a phone call.
Yeah.
And then you add on, you have your email open and your inbox turned on. Oh, you have email notifications on.
Right.
You
have to. You have to schedule this phone call.
Yeah, or you have email notification sounds on.
Oh.
So every time that you're diving into something other than email and your attention is starting to pour into something that matters,
right.
You get a ping, in the background somewhere every time someone says, "Doesn't work for me." Nope, no good. So
nope.
So
the most worthless email ever.
Nope. Yeah. So there you go. I mean, we just touched on some email etiquette stuff that we've talked about in the past.
Yes.
Turn your notifications off, turn your sounds off, turn your badge count off. Do whatever it is that you need to do to remove the distractions so that you can do your best work. That's the point.
Yeah.
So those are the 2. Oh, you sent one to me today.
I did.
Did that work? I looked a little.
Yeah,
dated.
It was wonky. It was.
What is it called?
I forget. I didn't even include it in the show notes because, once I got your reply and everything like that, it just looked so bad. It was just I don't want to work with this.
All right, never mind then.
Yeah, that's all right.
But I want to touch on something before we get really far out to sea here. But Wired Magazine put out an article in 2010. Now, mind you, it's 5 years since then, which is crazy. Right. But it, I think it was called "The Death of the Phone Call."
Yes,
or something along those lines.
The phone call is dead.
Yeah, and this article has been chewed to death, but I definitely want to touch on it because we haven't done an episode about this, and this is the closest thing that we have come to talking about phone calls in general.
Yeah,
and we'll put a link into the show notes, but the basic premise of the article is that people using phones as means of communicating is obviously down,
right?
And
totally changed,
and has been down for quite some time. And I'll read this quote that tells you exactly when. According to Nielsen, the average number of mobile phone calls we make is dropping every year, after hitting a peak in 2007. And our calls
same year the iPhone came out.
Bingo. And our calls are getting shorter. In 2005, they averaged 3 minutes in length. Now they're almost half that. Now again, this was in 2010, so I can only imagine it's even less now.
Yeah.
And I think the point of the headline was to get people to click. The death of the phone call. Oh my god, phone call.
They're not dead.
It can't be that. I use the phone. I use the phone all the time. You guys are crazy. And it's so crazy. What's crazy is how drastically this has split the work culture in half. And it's almost like Yankees and Red Sox or Mac and PC. You're either a phone person or you're not. And I tend to lean towards not being a phone person, not because I have something against phone calls, but because the necessity for as many as we needed 15 years ago just isn't there. So naturally, you're going to become less of a phone person, in 2015 and beyond. But the point, phone calls have changed. They've changed roles. They are the new meetings, in my opinion, and they have to be scheduled.
Yeah.
Now, again, this is work. This is in the workplace, business, etc. You don't have to schedule a phone call with your mom or your wife.
Sure.
But seriously, how many times have you texted your friend saying, "Hey, I'm going to call you"? Or,
yeah,
hey,
you have a minute?
5 minutes free?
Can you talk?
You have a minute? Yeah. Yeah, I have some free time later. I want to bounce some ideas off you. Yeah, call me at 4:30. Even that, you just scheduled a meeting. You just scheduled a conference call.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I don't want to rant too hard because I want to let you talk.
No. I hear you. I mean, definitely, too, the idea, I mean, you said it, too, that phone call is a meeting. I mean, I do that with clients myself, and I find it interesting too, and to get back to the scheduling part of this is, an email at 1:00 of, hey, can I give you a call? Whoa. Back up.
That's not even that bad. You know what's even worse is when someone emails you and just says, call me.
Or they just call. Like, what the heck? Yeah, you're right.
No, but the email saying call me is by far the worst.
Yeah, because you have your day scheduled, this and that. And there's there's an article I'll link in the show notes called Scheduling a Meeting the Right Way. And again, in that these phone calls are meetings practically. It talks a bit about that. The important, who's the person you have to work around. Like, I remember as an editor, if I were working with you to bring an artist in, like, hey, your artist is only available at a certain time. I have to work around that. Like, that's it. Like, if my writer or photographer is not available, we got to find someone else, because there's all, your artist is the most important part of that. Like, we have to work around that. And I think there's like almost a hierarchy into any of these things, and scheduling calls. There's a hierarchy. Who's the one that has to be worked around? You know what I mean? Who's the one that's leading the charge of when can this be done?
Right. No, totally. I get you.
And so, yeah, as far as the, hey, can I call you in 5 minutes? A lot of that stuff, I find it super helpful is to reply with, hey, I can't talk right now, but can you talk tomorrow at 2 p.m. or, between 2 and 4? Always love putting in those times for a person to be able to pick from, rather than, hey, are you free tomorrow? Yes, no, don't do that.
Yeah, it's a respect thing, honestly, and it's a respect of the other person's time. And like when I said, when someone emails you and says call me, that really says I have no respect for your time. Call me immediately, because what you're doing is, there's no way what you're doing is more important than what I need to talk to you about. So call me right now. Which but the respect thing is really what you have to rely on. And it's not about it's not about saying, oh, can you call me in 5 minutes? That's no big deal. The problem is the phone call itself. The phone call itself is the ultimate interrupter. Yeah. Because look at I think it was iOS 7 or 8 when they, if you don't believe me, when next time you get a phone call, iOS gives you an option right then and there to text someone back saying, hey, I can't talk right now. Right. Because when someone is making a phone call out of nowhere, you don't know what they want. You don't know what you don't know if it's going to be a 2-minute conversation or a 10-minute conversation. Do you need to be
in front of your computer or not?
Right. And if you're knee deep in work, you have, no matter what happens, you have to stop what you're doing and give your full attention to that person on the phone. Now, 20 years ago or 30 years ago, when that was the only thing, between that and snail mail and fax machines, that was your main avenue of communication. Sure, that's the only way we had to work. So yeah, give it your full attention, but that's not the case today. And I know it's completely ironic too, because we're on the phone right now, but that's not.
We're on Skype.
Hey, it's still a phone call.
We are on Skype. This is scheduled. It's a routine.
It is scheduled. So there you go.
Yeah, this isn't just a, it's not like you called me half hour ago. Hey, can you do this in 30 minutes? What? No, I can't do that.
No, I don't think so. But there's a lot of articles that have been written about this, and we'll include a bunch of them in the show notes. I know ABC just did one about phone fatigue and how, never mind us in our mid to late 30s, teenagers, preteens, they're not using the phone at all.
They are not. They are not. A lot of texting going on.
But what I find most fascinating about this whole concept is how crazy people get sometimes. Because sometimes, I'll say like, oh, I'm not really a phone guy. And people look at me like, what? Like, what? Like, dude, I'm not a
killer. Or
yeah, I'm not like beating small animals, dude. Just,
you're not an anti-dentite.
Exactly. And if you don't believe me, I'm sure you have at least one friend. I know I have more than one, where their voicemail sounds something like this: "Hey, you've reached so and so. I can't come to the phone right now. Either not at my desk or away from blah blah blah. Throw me an email at such and such, or text me at such and such." Because 9 times out of 10, you are going to get an answer faster if you email or text somebody.
It can be handled that way. Absolutely.
Which is why there are more emails sent now than phone calls made.
Right.
And I'm just assuming that, so I hope it's true.
I'm sure it is. Yeah, don't quote us. Don't go on CNN and quote us necessarily.
Yeah. But it's not a black and white issue. It's not either or. It's not it's not yes, you use the phone all the time and only the phone, or no, I never use the phone ever.
Right.
It's everyone has a workflow that is a happy marriage of the two, some more than others. But we're at a point in work now in 2015 where there are certain behaviors when it comes to phone calls that are becoming less and less acceptable.
Right.
And especially for younger people. I have people I work, that I deal with, not colleagues, but people I work with every day that I could call them all day, every day, and they would answer, and that's how they get their work done.
Right.
That works for them. But I know it doesn't work for the majority of people.
Yeah, I know I've had many conversations over the years with labels, with publicists that got me on the phone. Hey, I want to talk to you about some new releases, this, that, and the other.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
Totally. But usually what it comes back to is like, well, yeah, just email me this stuff. Email it to me.
And that example is, clearly depends on the relationship that you have with somebody. Because I use the phone every day. I'll just state that now as a publicist, because I have to, because it's a crucial part of what I do. But if I can help it, I won't.
Correct. Yes.
But if it's a situation where a phone call will get the job done better than a text, email, or a message, then I'll use the phone.
Yeah.
But the instance in which that is necessary is becoming fewer and fewer, especially when I'm working with younger and younger people.
Right. Oh, yeah.
So that's the point I wanted to make.
Yeah.
Is that is the phone call dying? Clearly, because Nielsen says so, and
it's statistics.
And that's the thing. It's facts and truths. This isn't an opinion.
Right.
An opinion would be, do you need to use the phone to get work done? Well, it depends.
Right.
But are there less phone calls being made today than 10 years ago? Yes.
Right.
Definitely.
I mean, at the same time, too, sometimes it does help with setting up some big stuff. If you have 3 different people involved, 4 different people, hey, can you do this? Sometimes it's easier to just hop on the phone and get that done. Especially, too, because people can be so much more likely to want to do that, to be open to that, rather than, hey, there's this thing called Slack, and if you download it, they just don't, you know what I mean? So sometimes hopping on the phone can be the quickest way to just schedule something, you know what I mean? To just hammer something out.
And that's part of work,
right.
And it represents another dynamic that you're going to have to navigate in your workplace relationships, because there are people that I work with that I can say, you know what, dude, don't call me. Let's just set up a Slack chat, and we can bang this out in like 5 minutes.
Right.
Give me about an hour. I'll message you when I'm ready.
Yeah.
And they would say, okay, cool, see you there.
Right.
And then there are people I could say the exact same thing to, and they'll go, what? Can't you just call me?
Right. Sure.
And they're both right. They're both correct.
Right.
And that's the whole point, is that there's no right answer. It's just, the whole point of this episode for me is to just make it clear that there's an extra thing that we all have to navigate now. And that, the other person you're trying to communicate with, they might want a phone call. All right, fine, jump on the phone. But more and more, as I'm seeing, is that people don't want that. Mm-hmm. And they want an email, they want a text, they want a Slack or a HipChat or Facebook message, WhatsApp, you name it.
Right, and it goes back to another Merlin Mann idea or thought. I was talking to my friend Travis about this recently. Is that whole idea of pebbles, that your phone call or your email or whatever it is might not seem like a big deal to you to reach out to Bill to do something, but Bill's already holding a bucket of rocks. So you have to, that phone call to Bill, in the middle of everything that he's probably doing during the course of the day, that might not be the best way to go about it. Or for anyone.
Right. And the pebble analogy is that, my one little email,
right.
It doesn't really mean that much. It's just one small question. But that pebble, when you have one pebble that weighs, an ounce,
right.
If you have 1,000 pebbles, that weighs quite a bit.
Yes.
So if you think of your email as a pebble,
right,
and it comes down to respect and thinking that, well, what's easiest for the person I'm trying to communicate with?
Yeah.
What do they prefer? And it does come down to relationship and to know what they prefer. Because there are people I work with where I call them right up and it happens, and there are other people where the opposite happens. So,
right.
Yeah.
Did we nail down how we're going to get better at scheduling or no?
I don't have a problem scheduling. Do you?
No. I you know what? No, I think it's ultimately that whole you guard your time, establish boundaries. You're not going to answer that email at 1 a.m. Hey, can you talk? No, I could talk tomorrow at 3 p.m. and that's the way it goes. I mean, again, it's different with different people, this and that. Maybe I can take your call right now or something like that. Let's hop on the phone and do this. But
it's valuing time.
Yes.
Whether it's valuing other people's time or it's valuing your own time.
Right.
And if you do more of both,
mm-hmm.
then you'll have a better work day.
Right. And man, it can be so important too. And just because if I write a bad email trying to explain something, if I just haphazardly here it is and send it out, that person on the other end might be confused. So confused that hey, can we hop on the phone and talk about this? I didn't do my job. I should have took more time with my email.
Yeah, that's a whole other concept that we didn't even touch on, is that the art of writing a good email.
Right.
In that, email nowadays, and I won't go into this too deep, but email nowadays, people there's no standard, there's no training.
No.
There's no, I'm a black belt in email. It's a people just, it's a hodgepodge. It's a mess.
Why are you?
It's a mess.
Yeah. Why are you using an email from 3 weeks ago with a 3-week-old subject line to email me about a completely different thing today?
Right. And if you really want a good one, I tweeted that today. 15 ways to look smarter in emails.
That was great. We got to link that up.
I clicked on that thinking, maybe this will offer something.
Sure.
And then within 3 sentences, I'm like, oh man, this is all satire. This is awesome.
Yeah.
But anyway, point I was trying to make is that there's no training. So
right.
Some people treat email very differently. Mm-hmm. You got that guy who writes 1,000 words in every response, and you got that guy who writes 1 word.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole point is that if you are clearly communicating in your emails.
Yes.
You will need less phone calls.
Right? Yeah, exactly. That's screenshots. That's this. I've done freaking the screen captures of screen to screen kind of stuff and made a QuickTime video of that. Yeah, this is how this thing's working. Oh, okay, cool.
There you go.
Yeah, I mean it's a little heavy lifting, but hey, maybe that'll save a phone call. That has to happen.
But
next
week. What would have taken more time? You doing that really quick, or you doing that where you knew how long it was going to take you to do
Correct.
it, versus a phone call where you have no idea how long it would have taken to explain.
Right, we got to schedule it with this, that. Oh, yeah, totally. Yep.
Anyway, I think that's it, man. You can visit us at workbenchpodcast.com for links to everything we talked about and so much more.
And if you're subscribed on iTunes, you can give us a review, and that will help immensely. We're also on YouTube now. We just uploaded.
That's right.
Yes.
Breaking news.
Stop the presses. All the episodes are up on YouTube, and we're in the process now of time-stamping everything. So you can go through and look at those. And just click on the things you might want to listen to instead of the whole thing, if that's your thing.
And for questions and comments, you can find either of us on Twitter. I am at Bill Meese. Seth is at Seth W. Or you can email us at hello@workbenchpodcast.com.
Or you could call us at 1... No, you cannot.
No.
No.
Hey, Seth.
Yes, Bill.
Later, dude.
Goodbye, Bill.